Hey, what's good, everyone? My name is Landon Jeray Morgan, and I'm here with my beautiful wife.
Hello, I'm Rotunda Morgan.
And you're tuned in to Living More with the Morgans. And you guys, it has been roughly 2 years since Living More with the Morgans has been back on the air. But you guys, this time we're recording our podcast and we're giving it to you on podcast stations. We're giving it to you right here on YouTube. We're giving it to you on Facebook. Everywhere that you can find your podcast, we're going to bring it to you. And so, you guys, it's been 2 long years. And, babe, it's been way too long since we've been behind this desk. But you know what? It feels good. I'm feeling good. How you feeling right now?
I feel good.
You feel good?
Yes,
I mean, you got to get back in the saddle and get back situated.
Yeah,
okay.
But I feel good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we're feeling good right now, you guys. And so we want to appreciate you, first of all, for going on this break with us. Yeah, you went with us because a lot of people were praying. A lot of people were in our corner. A lot of people were asking, hey, when you guys coming back? What's going on with the podcast and everything? So we've been revamping some things. We've been, just kind of going through life. Life has been lifing. But we're bringing some brand new things to this podcast, brand new ideas and different things that we're going to be doing with travel, different things in the local area that we're going to be bringing to you guys. Why? Because it's all about more life, more love, more to explore here on Living More with the Morgans. And so, first of all, we want to appreciate you guys again for all the love and support that you guys were giving us a couple of years ago while we were doing the broadcast live. Now, back then, we were going live on Facebook, on Twitter. We were going live on all of the platforms at that time. And it was kind of funky because we had some technical difficulties every now and then. Sometimes we would lose people in the broadcast because something would go down.
Yeah.
Well, this time around, you guys, we are recording this for you. So you're not going to worry about any technical difficulties, and we're going to be bringing this to you every week. Now, you guys tell us, because we definitely want to hear from you guys. We want to hear from you on our social media platforms. And if you're wondering where you can find us, you can find us pretty much everywhere. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on TikTok. And you can find us on Twitter and YouTube. And so for Facebook, IG, and TikTok, you would go to @LivingMoreMorgans. On YouTube, you go to youtube.com/@LivingMoreMorgans. And on X.com, Twitter, you would go to Live More Morgans. And so you guys were everywhere. You ain't going to have no excuse not to find us. And who wouldn't want to see this beautiful face right here? I mean, I get to see her every day, but y'all can at least see her every week right here on Living More with the Morgans, you guys. So we're going to have some fun today, but we're going to kind of roll back the tape a little bit. And what we're going to do with this episode is we're going to kind of explain why we took the hiatus and why life was bringing some challenges, some good things, some bad things, but some restructuring, not just for our marriage, not just for our relationship, but just for life in general. And things I believe that God is wanting us to better handle. He's equipped us to better handle over this past 2 years. And I think it's going to be encouraging for you guys that are watching and our audience, prayerfully that this will touch people around the world through this platform, Living More with the Morgans. And that's exactly what it is. Yes. This isn't about getting likes and followers and subscribers. This is about being a vehicle, a platform that encourages people in their marriages, in their relationships, in their families, individually. If you're single, this is for you. If you're married, this is for you. And so we wanted to bring something to you guys, again, that is wholesome. So you're not going to hear no cussing. You're not going to hear no fussing, none of that foolishness here on Living More with the Morgans. Why? Because we want people of all ages, all backgrounds, all languages, all ethnic groups to be able to understand what it is that we're talking about and be able to relate to it.
That's correct.
And so we're going to, we'll touch on societal issues. We'll touch on culture and all those different things. But for the most part, we want to bring you love. We want to bring you life. And we want to bring you encouragement in everything that you may be going through, that we have probably been going through and continue to go through. And so, babe, tell the people again, how are you feeling about 2-year hiatus? And we're back. We're back.
It's a blessing to be back.
Yeah.
Like my husband said, we've gone through some challenges. We've gone through some things that we didn't expect to go through, right? But the word is we went through it, right?
Oh yeah,
we went through it. So And that's why our platform is here to help encourage those that are going through things, to let you know that you're not alone and that someone cares and someone else might be going through it, not exactly,
Yeah.
but similar to what you're going
Absolutely.
through. So we're all going through challenges, ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of life. But because we are faith-based people, we believe that our Lord and Savior is there for us, and He's
Absolutely.
always been there. He said
Absolutely.
He'll never leave us, nor will He forsake us.
No.
So that's what we believe, and that's the hope that we want to bring to you all.
And you, baby, you said something that was key. We went through it.
We went
right?
through it.
So
yes.
it's like when you're battling any kind of challenges, any kind of storm, you go through it. You
Right.
don't stay stuck in it.
Yes.
And so even though sometimes when you're in it, you feel like you're going to stay stuck in it, right?
Yeah.
You feel like you ain't coming out that bad boy.
Yeah.
But the reality is that you do come out of it. You do go through it.
Yes.
And so those challenges, you guys, aren't to kill us, but they're to make us stronger. And I think sometimes when you're in it and you're in those challenges, you don't see it like that. You see it kind of like, God, well, what are you doing?
Right.
Because this don't feel good. You know,
it doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good. Things, around us are just kind of in chaos and just, discombobulated or whatever. And so I think when you're in it, you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But the thing of it is that there's always light at the end of the tunnel. There's always sunshine after the storm. And so if I want to kind of go back a little bit for the people, just to kind of let them know why we took the 2-year hiatus and what brings us back to now. And I think, Babe, you're better equipped to be able to kind of explain what has happened, what has transpired in our family, particularly on your side of the family, as to why we kind of halted the podcast for a little while.
Yes. So about a couple of years ago, my mother fell ill. She was diagnosed in 2018 with dementia. And from there, we ended up moving our parents into an assisted living. My dad kicked and screamed.
Right.
He didn't want to go. No. He wanted to be at his home. But we ended up doing that, my brother and I and all of us. And about around the end of March, my mother, again, she got sick, and they took her by ambulance to the hospital, a local hospital. To make a long story short, they took her to another hospital because that particular hospital wasn't doing enough to give us answers of what was going on with my mom. Now, we know she had dementia, but it didn't seem like that was what was occurring, something with that. So they diagnosed her that she did have, more fluid that came on her brain. And also she had a stroke. So from there, we started to do what we needed to do as far as talking to the doctors, getting information. What should we do? What's the next step? The doctors weren't very encouraging because my mom was 89 years old. If you saw her, you didn't think that because her and my dad didn't look their age. And so the doctors weren't very favorable towards us. They were like, your mother is, literally is getting time for her to, transition. And so as a child, even though I'm a grown child, it's not something you want to hear. We were back and forth at the hospital, staying there, making sure we get her through the process. We had to actually put her in hospice. She went through having some rehabilitation. My mom responded a little bit, but not as much. She wasn't eating. She kind of stopped eating a lot. And so we ended up coming together as a family, my brother and I, and my husband and my daughter, and deciding, because my parents was about almost 3 hours from where we live here, we decided it's time to move them here closer. We wanted to initially, but again, my dad, of course, he wanted to stay in his home, but if he wasn't going to be in his home, he was like, I want to stay at least in the area where I grew up in. So my dad actually came to me and said, it's time for us to do something,
Mhm.
and I'm ready to leave. I said, okay,
Wow.
Daddy, let's
Yeah.
do it.
Mhm.
So we brung him here, got my mom here by ambulance, brung my father. My mother, I believe that was on August the 26th when we brung her here.
Mhm.
And to another residential living. We had around the clock care for her and for my dad. And my dad was fine. But he was concerned, of course, of his wife,
Right.
because my parents been married 60 years. They were together 64.
Mm.
My mother, they tried to, get her up and get her out the bed and all of that. And she did okay for a day or two. But after that, she started to decline.
Yeah. Right.
She wasn't eating. She wasn't drinking. She wasn't doing anything. They literally was giving her a sponge, wetting the sponge with water and putting it on her mouth, in her mouth. September the 1st, around 4:30, I remember you and I going to see mom and dad the night before. And my heart was so heavy and torn at that time because mom had stopped speaking before we got her here. I was really concerned, but again, as a child, you don't want to think that this is coming to an end. Right. We had so many plans, so many things we wanted to do. We got a phone call September the 1st, 2023, about 4:30 a.m. from the nurses there at the assisted living out here where we live. And they said that my mother had passed. It's never easy to lose a parent. So we gathered, got ourselves together, and we went to where she was. And I remember touching her. She was still warm. I thought everything was going to crash on me. I remember screaming when they called and told me. And we had to go there and, try to be with dad. And my dad's hard of hearing after working at a plant for over 40 years. So his hearing wasn't as good. And he was in the next room to her. And we had to tell him. And he did well, seemingly. So we had her eulogy and back home where she's from in East Texas, and everything was beautiful. It was wonderful. Dad stayed here with us, try to get him through it, and he did well. But we celebrated his birthday. I remember November the 23rd is my dad's birthday, so we celebrated his birthday. He looked so good. He looked good. If anyone saw my parents, know my parents, they looked so good for their age. They were hardworking people. Absolutely. Extremely. And my dad did good, and we were, at his birthday party, and he was happy, seemed great. We was pushing through. Still, mom had passed. Well, my dad ended up, they called us and said that his arm was bothering him. So it's like, okay, that's a couple of months later, December. And said, okay, well, what's going on? They said, well, you need to come. I'm not sure. So when we got there and everything, we decided to take him by ambulance to the hospital to see what was going on. Well, he tore his rotator cuff. It's just a tear, small tear. But because he was 97, they decided it wasn't a good idea for us to go ahead and do any surgery. Let's do a rehabilitation for him. So we found a place with his insurance, not far from here, from where we live, to for him to get the necessary care that he needed. He did well. He seemed a little bit at times not I wouldn't say coherent or understanding some things. It seemed like he started to have a fogginess coming over him. And so on December the 19th, they called us and said at the rehabilitation center that my dad had coded. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to think. It was just too much for me. So my husband said, I was at the time working at a company. He said, stay put. I'll be there to get you. Okay. I said, okay. Um, on during that time when you were on your way, they called me back and said, well, we got him back. We resuscitated him. I said, okay. So we'll be there. We'll be there. We're on the way as soon as my husband get here. Before my husband got to me, came to me, he the doctor called me back and they told me, they said, well, your dad didn't make it. Another punch in the gut. Yeah. So we went to the rehabilitation hospital where he was, and again he was still warm, as if he was sleeping. So within 3 months, both my parents passed. It's devastating, honestly.
I think even now, 2 years later, so many people, they didn't know how to console you and console us. And honestly, if we're being honest, the people that were closest to us, there were a lot of them that were silent during that time.
Right.
And that'll make you feel some kind of way.
Correct.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
When you're going through some of your darkest time, and the people that you felt should be there, should give some kind of consolation to you, some kind of encouragement to you, and they didn't, all kinds of things can kind of play in your mind about, okay, well, what's really going on here? And so I know that, quite honestly, we went through that. Yeah. We went through a period where, like, okay, what is up with the relationships, that we're involved in, as far as our family members and people we considered loved ones and people that we considered friends. So there was a whirlwind of emotions that were going on during these past 2 years.
And also, honey, my best friend mother was sick at the same time.
Right.
And when I say best friend, I've known my best friend since I was 5 years old. And her mother was sick at the same time. My mother was sick. Well, her mother was sick prior, before mine, but she started declining at the same time. And we both are going through it with her family. And her mother passed a month before my mother passed. Wow. And so we went to her mom's homegoing service and trying to console her at the same time. And my parents were like parents to her. So she was hurting. Her mother passed. And it was just all so much for me at one time.
It was a total domino effect, right?
It was a total domino effect.
I think for me, as a man, you want to fix everything, right? And fellas, I know y'all can out there that y'all can understand that, is that when your wife is hurting, anybody is hurting, you want to fix it. Your children, your wife, your mother, whomever, especially the women in your life, you want to fix that situation as best as you can. And I'll be honest, I felt so just at a loss of, like, what do I do? Where my wife, in a span of 3 months, has lost both of her parents. And I can remember, of course, when we were dating years ago, when I lost my father. Yes. Now, we weren't married, but we were dating. So we were, our relationship, close. Our relationship was building at that time. And so, I lost my dad suddenly. Yes. It wasn't necessarily a gradual decline, but it was literally like a here today, gone tomorrow type thing.
Literally.
And that, for me, I'm in my 20s at the time, and that was just heartbreaking, devastating. And I remember, I harbored a lot of anger for years, you know, because of that. Because there was so much I wanted to do for my dad, and so much there were places I wanted us to go and vacation with my mom and stuff, and things I wanted to buy him, a house I wanted to get him, and all these different things, just to to show him and tell him that I appreciated them. So for you to have lost two of the closest people that you'll ever know in your life in a span of 3 months, that I had no remedy. And so as a man, when you don't have a remedy, you really got to lean on God. And this is a situation where God, I don't know how to lean on you for this. Right. I don't even know what to pray for this.
I think the best thing, honey, to talk about, to tell anyone who, especially a man or even a woman, if your spouse is going through bereavement and grief, the best thing to do is just listen, be there, offer assistance, anything I can do for you today. You want to talk, sometimes space, we need space, but do something. Don't, because death, my dad would say to me, death is a part of life. We know that, and we understand that. And the Bible says to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. I know my parents are there.
Absolutely.
I had wonderful parents. You had wonderful dad. Just loving, caring, there for us as children. Me and my brother sacrificed greatly for us. My mother was my best friend. My mother was our daughter's best friend. She loved her granny. Right. So I would tell anyone, it's not easy. 2 years almost now. My dad, December 19th to be 2 years for him. Mother already is at her 2-year mark. And it still hurts. It's going to take time. I will admonish anyone that is going through, make sure you have people around you that love you, that are there for you, that care, and that are not going to rush you through anything. Now, let me get that you get an understanding when I say that. You are entitled to do that. You're entitled to grieve. You're entitled to do that. Now, if you're stuck there, okay, you're stuck and you're not living, the blinds are closed, you are not taking calls, you're not going anywhere, you're not pushing past it, you're not pushing yourself to keep going, then that's a problem. That's an issue.
I'm glad you touched on that. And what I want to do is I want to take a quick break.
Okay.
And I definitely want us to jump back into that, because I think that's a good place to pause. We got to pay some bills real quick, you guys. So don't go anywhere. Stay right there behind the computer or on your phone. We'll be right back with Living More with the Morgans. All right, you guys, we're back with Living More with the Morgans, and thank you so much for staying with us. And so early on, my wife was talking about, we left on not staying in the mode of just being stuck in mourning and grieving. And you were so right that sometimes we can stay stuck in that place. Where we don't want to see people, we got the blinds shut, we're shutting ourselves out from the world. And then when you do that, you start slipping into periods of depression.
Yes.
You start slipping into anger and bitterness and all these different dangerous places. Grief is natural.
Yes.
Right? So grief, especially your parents, especially someone close like that. And so early on in the broadcast, you guys, my wife was mentioning how we are people of faith. And so as people of faith, we've had to learn by our faith, in our faith in God, is that we don't necessarily mourn like the world mourns, like those who don't have any faith mourn.
That's right.
And so even though our faith tells us that those who are absent in the body are present with the Lord, and those kinds of scriptures throughout the Bible kind of give us that comfort of knowing that outside of this world, outside of this present life, there's another life, there's another eternal life with Yeshua, who many would call, of course, Jesus. And so our faith helps us, encourages us to mourn differently.
Absolutely.
But we still mourn.
Yes.
We still cry. And I've told my wife, don't put a timetable, don't put a limitations and constraints on your grieving. So here it is 2 years later, and during the break, my wife was crying, of course. And I told her, these are your parents you're talking about. And a lot of people, I won't say a lot, but there were some people that during that 2-year hiatus were kind of like, well, your parents were older and so forth and so on. And, they had, 80 plus, 90 plus strong years, so forth and so on. And I would tell people that, yes, that's true, but this is still their daughter. And they had grandchildren. And so you're attached at the hip to your parents.
Absolutely.
Here it is 20 years later, this year, that my dad went home to be with the Lord, and it still hurts.
It still hurts. I remember when my brother, and it was two of us, my mother and father initially had 3 children. Their first child passed at 10 months old. That's something that's pretty tough on any parent. My mother went through a tough time at that time, her and my dad. And I'm the second child, and then there's a baby, my brother. And my brother told me something that was so just impactful to me. He said, when I left from there and after mom had passed, he said, I broke down. I had to pull over on the side of the road. He said, it took me almost an hour to get back to Houston. He said, just because you don't see me crying doesn't mean that I didn't cry. These are our parents, grief. People grieve in different ways. Everybody don't grieve the same,
And if I can real quick, let me put that in context, because your brother, from what I've known, he typically doesn't show a whole lot of emotion,
yes,
outwardly.
Yeah.
No. He's not very expressive when it comes to those kinds of emotions. That's correct. From what I've known.
Yes.
And he's a corporate guy. He's up there, with the top earners and everything. And so, to see him display that kind of emotion for you being his sister, and me being his brother-in-law, and seeing that on the outside, it affects us all differently.
It's all different.
And again, these are your parents. Yes. And so I would tell him, if Alton is watching, I would tell you, and I always tell you, is that you don't let anyone or anything put constraints on how you grieve or even when you grieve. 20 years later, I'm still grieving for my father. That's my dad. Now, I thank God I had him for 24 years of my life. And I know some people who never knew their fathers, never had relationships with their fathers.
So we're grateful.
Right. My father didn't know his father. So we're grateful.
Yes.
And we thank God that we had those relationships and we had that time that we had with them.
Right.
Your mom in particular, we had a relationship where she was always checking on me because I was always working, right? As a small business owner, I'm always working. I'm always behind the computer. And every time your mom would call you, she would ask about me, where Lan at? You know? And sometimes I would talk to her on the phone, or I'd come in here and talk to her on the phone. And I tell her, I'm back here at work, I'm doing good. And she would tell me, well, get off that computer a little bit, don't work so hard and everything. So we had that relationship, right?
Yeah.
And so, and even with your dad,
Yes.
more so towards the end there.
Yeah.
And so God has a funny way of helping us get through the storms. Like we said earlier in the broadcast, is that we don't stay stuck in the storm. We navigate through the storm. And it's easier, fam. It's easier when you have God. And so for so many people who don't have that relationship, I would definitely tell you, in these times that we're living in now, you better have God. You better have that relationship with the Most High, because there are things that are taking place right now in the world that are inexplainable, and things that are happening suddenly, literally here today, gone tomorrow type things. And so it's not that, and I don't say that to scare our viewers. I'm not saying it to scare you, because we want you to have joy. We want you to have peace of mind. We want you to go out here and live and go out here and explore and do all those things and love more and all that. But at the same time, if you don't have that relationship with God, it's going to be real tough for you. And if the truth be told, it's probably tough for you now if you don't.
Right.
It's tougher. Exactly. It's tough now when you got him, but it's probably even tougher. And I know it's going to be even tougher if you don't have him. The 2-year hiatus with the passing of your parents, that also brought on money challenges.
Yes.
That the economy wasn't stopping from its decline. Business still had to go on, as small business owners. So things got tight. Things got tight economically. And then that starts putting weight on your marriage, where you can't move around like you want to. You can't come and go like you want to. Things even in our intimacy, in our intimate times, you're trying to navigate through that. When is a good time to be intimate? I know my wife is grieving right now, so how do I approach that, knowing that this is fresh and this is new? You understand what I'm saying? Yes. So, and I'll be honest, as a man, I'm trying to figure that out. Like, okay, my wife just lost her folks, but I'm trying to get my freak on at the same time, and I don't want to be, I'm being honest. So I don't want to be insensitive. Yeah. But at the same time, and you're still my wife, and I still have to show you that affection and that intimacy. But I know that this is fresh, and I know these are your parents.
Right.
So those were things that are real,
right?
That we don't tend to talk about, and we don't get in church conferences, we don't get in these seminars, and we don't get in a book. These are things that we had to navigate.
Right. It's called communication.
Yeah.
It's called communication, and it's called knowing the person that you're married to, knowing them, getting an understanding of who they are, approaching them, with, hey, these are the things that are on my heart. Because even though I'm going through this, I still love my husband. I still want us to be together intimately. So, but at the same time, yes, my mind wasn't there, initially. But I had to realize that life is going to continue to go on, and you don't want to lose any more time or any time in being together. My mom and dad were together 64 years.
Right.
We thank God for that. But at the same time, 64 years, that doesn't mean, people nowadays, they're like, oh, you've been married this long. You've been married this long. Right. Marriage is challenging. Marriage is not easy. It's doable. You can do it, but it has to be mutual. It has to be communication. It has to be respect. It has to be love. Right. It has to be all these components so that it can be the marriage or be the relationship that it needs to be. And you get to understand each other. What are your needs? What are my needs? That is what a marriage is. And as you get older, you change.
Right.
If I was younger, I probably couldn't have dealt with it if I was in my 20s or my 30s, as I had, in my, age now.
Mhm.
But now that I'm older, I know how to understand that I have to continue to move on
Right.
and keep moving. I still have a life partner. I still have a life.
I love the word that you used earlier, which was components. And I think about any kind of car, any kind of vehicle. If that vehicle is comprised of numerous components, right? So yeah, you can have an engine, but if you don't have an alternator, if you don't have a starter, if you don't have wheels, if you don't have a steering wheel, all these components make this thing move.
That's correct.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
And all of them
that's
have to
correct.
be in sync with one
Yeah,
another.
that's correct.
So if
Yeah.
that engine is not in sync with that steering column, and those wheels aren't in sync with that steering column, and so forth and so on, then that thing's not going to move like it needs to,
No,
like it was designed to.
that's right.
So with marriage, there is a specific divine design, if you will.
I love that word.
There's a divine
That's so
design
true.
to marriage, and I think
Yeah.
that's what so many people are missing.
Yeah.
Is they're excited over the wedding, and they're excited over the
And
companionship,
that's all exciting.
and it's cool, and
Yes.
you should be excited, and they're excited over the sex and all that stuff that's going to come with that. That's all great and good, but when them challenges come,
And they're
coming, fam, when situations with loved ones passing away, or
Money.
people, or money issues, or people getting sick, or whatever, those issues that are coming, is that going to tear up your vehicle, or are you gonna strengthen and say, okay, now if we need to go in for some repairs, if we need to go in for some maintenance, we're going to do that, but we're going to keep this vehicle on the road. Why? Because it was designed to.
That's right. And that's what builds your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
The challenges,
Mm-hmm.
the ups, the downs.
That's what makes it real or not.
There you go.
That's what makes the marriage legitimate or
That's
not.
right.
If it's only based on how fine you are, and my wife is bad, straight up. But if it's only if my relationship was only based on how bad and fine and how thick and how luscious and everything you are, if it was only based on me, yeah. If it was if it was only based on that,
yeah.
Then we don't have anything.
We have
and we don't have anything that can sustain us through the tough times and
Correct.
through the tough challenges.
Right.
And so I think these past 2 years, because we've had challenges in our marriage before,
yes,
that we've had to overcome.
Yes.
Anger issues, particularly with me, anger issues, past issues, and different things like that. And so there have been challenges that we've had to overcome. But these past 2 years, with the loss of loved ones, even I remember my mother being in the hospital.
Yes.
And I had to, and I don't like to drive, y'all. So I drove all the way from Texas to Missouri. She was in Missouri at the time.
Yes.
And that whole way, I'm not scared. You know, I hear the Lord talking to me and saying, you know, all is well.
Right.
But it's your mama.
It's your mom.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And when it's your mama, you're like, now hold up. I'm not going out here. I'm not burying nobody. And so those kinds of challenges, those kinds of issues with money, where business has dried up, clientele has dried up, all these different challenges are coming at you in several different directions, right? Mm-hmm. That is when your marriage and your relationship is going to be tested.
Absolutely.
And if it's built on love, if it's built on commitment, see, and I'll even say this, honey, it's got to be built on more than love.
That's absolutely right.
It's got to be built on more than just love.
That's right. That's true.
You understand what I'm saying?
That is so true. Absolutely.
And so when them bills is hitting,
right?
When rent is still due, when things don't seem to be working,
right?
We got to have more than love.
Right. We have to have something that is an anchor.
Right.
And for us, the anchor is Yeshua.
Yeah, absolutely.
For us, that's our anchor.
Absolutely.
Staying in our word, getting in prayer,
and
staying there.
And it put us on our knees more. It puts you, it forces you to get on your knees more, because then you really figure out, and fellas, this is really for you guys. It makes you figure out that you're not the source.
Right.
And you don't have it all figured out, and you don't know all that you're doing, and you don't know what to do. So it makes you go back to the source, the Father, and say, Daddy, I need help with this. I need help loving this woman. I need help raising these kids. I need help undergirding these businesses. I need help with this. I don't know how to do this.
Right.
And when you humble down, when you humble yourself out and you say, God, I need you, and you approach him that way, you approach the throne room that way,
Right.
then he gives you strategies, he gives you answers, and the burden becomes lighter.
Right.
Now, here's the thing. He may not even take away the burdens,
Right.
but they get lighter.
They get lighter.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
The storm starts to subside.
Right.
It starts to dissipate.
Right.
And so the storm is still there.
And you start seeing things different in a different perspective.
Bingo.
Than you did before, because when you're in something you can't see.
Yeah.
You know, you got all this darkness around you and gray around you that you can't see through it. But when you start to begin to say, Father, I cannot handle this. I cannot take this on because this is too much for me. When you begin to do that and he knows that you're ready and you're tired, he's always there.
Well, it's like that old song that, you know, Father, I stretch my hand.
And you know, that's my dad.
Right.
That's my dad's song.
I feel my help coming from. I stretch my hand to thee.
Right.
Right.
No other help.
No other help I know.
Yeah.
So I have my part in going to God, especially as a man,
right,
and saying, I don't know what to do about the situation. I don't know how to handle this.
Right.
Daddy, what do you know?
Right. And us as women, when you have a husband that goes, that knows that his heavenly Father is his strength in everything, you be there for them. We as women talk so much about this man ain't here, this man ain't doing this man is not doing this, my husband's not doing this. But when you have a man that says, I don't know the answer, but I'm willing to try to find out, I'm willing to get in there and find out how to make sure that we get through this, then you stand strong with them and behind them and beside them. Right. And don't always look at them as if they're not enough or they can't provide or what have you. I'll tell any woman, there's not going to be one man that has everything you want, not everything, and vice versa. You understand? If there's things that you know that you can deal with and you can and you that can help you both get through together, then that's someone that God has sent to you.
Absolutely.
You understand?
Absolutely.
But when you go out and look, okay, that's not your responsibility as a woman. You don't go out and look, you be ready.
Right. Oh, right? I love that you said that.
You be prepared.
I love that you said that. Recently, a sister on Instagram post, she was admiring our marriage, and she admired our age difference. And for people who may not know, and you know, my wife is 13 years older than me, and so when we tell people that, they're like, "What? Get out of here! We don't see that."
Yes.
But I was telling this sister on IG, she was like, "Well, maybe I should start looking, you know, at younger men." What I would tell that young lady is equip yourself to become a wife. Now, what do I mean by that?
Right. Be ready. Yep.
The scripture says, a man that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. So that means that you already have to have the components of a wife before that man finds you. Not just a woman, not just being a woman, but a wife. That means spiritually, you have already prepared yourself to be that wife before that man finds you.
That's right.
So you don't go looking for a younger man. You don't go looking for an older man or whatever your preference is. Your position is to prepare yourself to be a wife. So when God sends that man, he sees the wife in you.
Ooh, that's so
and then he obtains favor from the Lord,
right,
when he's attached to you.
That's right.
But if you are just, I'm a fine woman, I'm a baddie, I'm a bad chick, I'm a boss chick, he's not looking for boss chick. And that's probably why you haven't found him. because you're trying to be baddie and bad B and all this different stuff that society is saying that you need to be. No, if you're wanting to be a wife, you prepare ahead of time to be a wife.
That's
and
right.
how do you become that? You get in your word, right?
Mhm.
You get in God's face. You get around other women who you know that are godly, who are married, who have had, good relationships and fruitful relationships with their husbands.
Mhm.
You get around who you want to become. If I want to become a billionaire, I need to hang around millionaires and billionaires.
Correct.
But if I hang around 9 broke folks, guess what? I'm the 10th broke person in the room.
Absolutely.
So if you're wanted, I would tell the sisters, and I would tell that sister in particular, if you want to be a wife, then start preparing and start studying and start immersing yourself in what a good, wholesome, spirit-led wife does and becomes.
And make sure it's nothing wrong with feeling good about yourself. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing wrong. Not the pretense now.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put on the superficial of what the world is telling you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, go get this injected, go get this. No. You who you are and what God has given you, love that. Love yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find that person will find you when you love you,
Mm-hmm.
truly love you.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when we were talking about with going through bereavement and going through this grief, I need someone that is not going to say, well, I don't know what to do for you, I'm out. Or I don't know what to do for you, I can't do anything.
Right.
I don't have nothing to say.
Right.
It wasn't my parents, that was your parents.
Right.
Kind of thing. That's why you have to pump your brakes. Wait. I'll tell anybody. Before my husband and I've been married before. Mm-hmm. And before I met my husband, I was single and was by myself for 6 years. Mm-hmm. I was raising our daughter. Mm-hmm. Okay. I was raising her because she was coming through a time where her father wasn't necessarily always there. Mm-hmm. So I had to help her through a time and help us both through that time. Right. And period. But to work on myself, mm-hmm. work on ourselves, mm-hmm. so that we can be better people, not because I was looking for someone, but because I wanted to be a better mother. I wanted to be a better daughter, mm-hmm. a better friend. Mm-hmm. I wanted to love myself. Even when I felt like I wasn't loved.
Yeah, I love that you said
Make
that.
Sense?
Oh, absolutely. I love that you said that. And I would tell people, and a lot of people, you got some cats that be hating or whatever and say, oh man, you capping this and this and this. No, I literally prayed for my wife and I wrote down what I wanted in a wife, not in a woman, a wife. I had past girlfriends and relationships. I already had all that. But I remember a couple of years before meeting you, as I wrote down, and I've told you this, I wrote down a 4-page letter to God in what I wanted in a wife. Yes. And I broke that down spiritually, mentally, emotionally, sexually. I mean, I was explicit and I was detailed. I was like a kid writing a Christmas list. And God knew what I needed. Right. But I asked him for a wife. And he was reconstructing you. And I didn't even know it. Mm-hmm. So my prayer was already answered in you before I even met you. And he knew what I needed. I didn't ask about, oh, I want my wife to be older. Now, I dug older women, but I didn't ask God, oh, she's got to be X amount of years older. She's got to be this. And no, I had to trust him. And I trusted him by saying, well, Lord, you know what I need more than I do. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he gave me that. But like you were saying, you already had the components of a wife and you were being refined as a wife to be given to someone else. Most women, when they go through their first marriage, they're done. Mm-hmm. They go through a divorce and like, oh, I'm done. I'm out here. I'm single. I'm finna paint the town red. I'm finna do what I do. You were being repackaged, if you will, mm-hmm. if I can say it that way. Mm-hmm. But you were being repackaged and refined mm-hmm. to be represented.
Right.
to one of God's sons.
Right.
And I was being refined and being constructed and molded and chipped and chiseled away so that when he presented you to me, I would know, one, I would recognize it, and two, know how to handle it. Y'all are fragile. God's daughters are fragile. And so we have to, as men, we can be so tough and so hard and have this exterior that we don't know how to handle something that's as fragile as y'all are. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah.
And so he was working on me.
Yes. And he was working on
and he was working on you.
Right. Because again, when we did get together, of course, of course we've had our ups and our downs,
Absolutely.
Of course, but we've learned how to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because we have the desire to.
Yeah.
Yes, this is my second marriage. And, it's funny because my mom was his second marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad said that my mother was the best thing he could have ever, imagine,
Wow.
after, years, they had turbulence in their marriage as well. I mean, it's just life. But again, you want to be ready within your own self first. It's about you first.
Yeah.
And so that you can be the whole person that you need to be. Once you are, then you can find another person. And God will give you that person that's whole too. Two fragile pieces put together won't stand,
right?
Won't make it. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a journey.
Yeah.
Of course, going through grief, going through the ups and downs and the ebbs and flows of life, seeing other friends that we know and people that we love going through grief, going through pain and going through sickness.
Right.
It's life. And I'll tell you this, as we are here today, I'll say this. I thank God I had you. I have you. Because I don't know what state of mind or where I would be literally if I didn't going through this with not having mommy and daddy around now. It's strength in numbers. Even the Bible says that it's strength in numbers.
Right.
And God put us together and to strengthen one another. Iron sharpens iron.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right.
So you guys, oh man, there's so much more we could say.
Right.
We might have to do a part 2. Right,
that
because
be
like
great.
it's been 2 years.
It's been 2 years.
Yeah, so we
have a lot to talk about.
We got a lot to talk about, you guys, but
yeah.
We may come back with a part 2 next week. But what we want you to do and what we want you to take away from this is that even though life has been lifing, if it has been for us, I'm sure it has been for you guys as well. But I believe that we're being strengthened. I believe that we're being equipped for better. And I believe better is coming. Now, if you look outside in the world and you scroll down your news feed on social media or you turn on the news, it looks like it's the opposite happening. Like everything is going in disarray and everything is in chaos and so forth and so on. But I think in these kind of turbulent times that I truly believe that God is bringing the best out of people. But what he's doing is he's bringing people, he's almost forcing us to come back to him.
It's true.
Even through these kinds of hardships, economic depression, oppression, whatever, all kind of issues, I think God forces us, especially those who say they love him, is he forces us to come back to him as the source, because there's more for us. There's more life for us to live. There's more for us to do.
It is.
And right now, we have friends, we have family, we have loved ones that have buried people, are burying people, or going through grief, or going through loss and disappointment as we speak. But I want to encourage them as we encourage ourselves, is that this is a storm. It's raining right now.
Yes.
It's raining and thundering right now as we do this podcast. That this is a storm that we're not going to stay in, fam. But this is a storm that we're going to go through. And we will come through on the other side. I think about that passage of scripture where Yeshua is walking on the water. And the disciples are in the boat and they're scared out of their minds. And why are they scared out of their minds? They think they're seeing a ghost out there on this water, and the winds are boisterous, and the waves are high, and everything. All this turbulence is taking place at one time. And then to look up out of this boat and see something walking on water, you ain't thinking it's Yeshua. You're thinking, yo, it's something demonic out there on this water in the middle of this storm. That's the devil, right?
Right.
But when he comes to him and says, fear not, as he does, and he says, and he talks to the waves and he says, peace be still, and all these different things that he said. But before he does any of that, and before he calms anything, the one disciple that says, Lord, if that's you out there, let me come to you. And he says one word to Peter. Come on, come.
Yes.
What is God saying to us right now? Now, we can stay in the boat and we can be frightened and we can be scared and, oh, what's the economy going to be like? And, oh, the government is shut down and this, or, oh, we're going to eat next week. And am I going to be able to take my kids? We can be fearful and stay in the boat while everything is tossing and turning and everything is pitch black out and the lightning is going on. We can be that way. Or we can step out on faith and what we believe in and what we hope for, and start walking on things even when it's turbulent. Start walking towards the one who said, come. So family, that's what we're doing. After 2 years, he told us, come on, I got you. I'll take care of you. I'll equip you. And I'll make sure that you get to the other side. Family, thank you so much for watching.
Thank you so much.
It's been fun.
It's been fun.
And we'll be back next week for another episode of Living More with the Morgans. You guys have a good one.
Good night.